In this episode, we'll be discussing aging and guide that we need towards a path of self love and acceptance. Helping us with this is our guest, who is an acupuncturist, personal stylist, and the founder of Carina. Welcome to the show, Carine. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I am feeling blessed and I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I'm glad to hear that you're feeling blessed today because we need you in this episode to bless us also with a soulful conversation.
Oh,
So thank you so much for joining me. And thank you so much for making out the time to speak with us. And we're looking
yeah.
forward to, learning about you, learning about your life journey so far. And one thing that comes to my mind straightforward is that I just want to learn I want to learn from your healing journey, basically. Like, how are you able to love and accept yourself again?
Well, love and acceptance is a lifelong journey. So it's a continual process. So I'm still a work in progress, though I would say I'm much better than I was even yesterday, a year ago, 10 years ago, especially as a child. And for me, a big part of love and acceptance is deciding that I wanted to love myself. And a lot of us think that it's not a decision that we can make. It's something that just happens or it doesn't happen. But for me, it felt like it needed to be an internal decision that I'm going to learn how to love myself and accept myself. And in doing so, I have developed more empathy for myself, more compassion for myself, thus creating more empathy and compassion for other people. So the more I learn about myself, the more I learn about my unconsciousness, my darkness, my negative thought patterns, my own judgments, it gives me more compassion to understand others, which
Mm,
then makes me love myself more, but then also helps to love others. And this all started because I was super depressed. I mean, suicidally depressed most of my childhood up until I was like in my mid 30s. And it really was a point in my life where I was like, I can't really go on with this level of depression. So I either have to shift my mindset and shift my heart set, I almost like to say, to really learn how to love myself and what does that truly mean so I could be happy. Not only
mm,
happy, that I could also be of service to the world and also help other people get out of that um, dark place that many of us live in every single day of our lives. And when you are always depressed, life is just not enjoyable. It really
mm.
isn't. And so I wanted to find a way for me to have a joyful life and also be able to spread that joy to others. And a large part of that is learning how to love everything about myself, the dark sides of myself, my judgments and my prejudices, my meanness, really trying to understand who I am as a person and why I do certain things and how I could heal that, how I can bring more softness, compassion, and grace for myself. So when someone else does something that's triggering, I could
Mm.
have more compassion for that other person because I could have more empathy and also understand that we are all one. We are all going through the same things in
Yeah.
different degrees. And
Mm,
when you are coming from that mindset of like, okay, you're going through something, I've either gone through that or gone through something similar, and
mm,
I've learned how to forgive myself, then I could forgive you and be like, okay, they're having a bad day, as
mm,
opposed to being angry and upset at the world. It just gives me a more of a sense of peace to be like, okay, people are going through stuff. And how could I be more graceful and allow people the space to go through what they need to go through and be a loving presence for them and also for myself? So I hope that kind of
yes.
answers your question. That was like a long-winded.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for, even opening up about the depression that you experienced in the past and how you were able to heal from that and how you are still on that journey of healing and progress. And one thing that you said that, really stood with me or that I'm also going to take from this episode is that we are all going through stuff and we admitting and accepting ourselves and knowing that yes, we are all going through stuff. I'm going through stuff too, gives us that enablement to deal with other people with grace and even much more understanding and maybe more empathy, basically. And we won't have big expectations for people in terms of their behavior or how they treat us, because we know maybe he or she is going through some dark phase of life, and that's why he or she is reacting or responding in such a way. Yeah, I really appreciate that. That gives us a little bit of understanding or background knowledge to what people are also facing. We're not the only ones that are having bad moments or good moments in life. Everyone has each of these moments in different degrees, like you said. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and pain can be very isolating. I think when most of us are in pain, we always think that no one is going to understand what we're going through. And that's almost a thought that goes through most of our heads. It's like, no one's going to understand this pain. I'm alone. I'm the only one that's going through this. And then
Mm,
many of us isolate and we don't share what we're going through. And I think that is where sharing what you're going through is important, to have a support system, but also when you see someone in pain, having that recognition to be like, oh, wait, they're probably going through something and they maybe are unable to share what they're going through for whatever reason. So I think when we think about our own pain, it gives us more understanding for other people's what they're going through without even necessarily knowing all the details.
mm,
Right. You can just be
yes.
like, you can just recognize, okay, they're having a bad day. I can understand that because I had a bad day X amount of times ago and I couldn't talk to anybody about it.
Mm.
So I feel like it gives you a perspective that's more compassionate.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And talking about pain or depression, I'd love to ask this question from your experience so far. Like when you are, I can imagine when you're in the depth of it all, in the pit, in the darkest phase of it all, what do you do to climb out of that pit to find light again, or to find some form of peace, happiness, or joy again?
It's a great question. Well, I would say the number one thing is I pray. I
Mm,
pray to God or the universe, but to that creative life force, which I consider, which I call God, just to simplify my prayers. But I pray
mm,
and I'm like, I ask for guidance and I ask for illumination and light and love. I have mentors and friends that I could turn to for help and guidance. And also for me, in those depths of my darkness, I really think about, is this the kind of energy that I want? Do I want to put this type of energy in the world? Like, what do I really want to be? Do
mm,
I want to be this dark, depressed self, and this is the energy that I'm going to bring to others? Or do I want to be a person of light and love? And ultimately, that's my decision, is to be a person of light and love. And so even in the moment, I may feel super dark and heavy. I think about, okay, what can I do today that's going to bring me a little bit more joy into my heart so that I can get closer to my
mm,
goal of being a loving light person? And so I'll do something that will help shift me out of that to bring me a little bit more joy. So that could maybe be working out. It could be dancing. It could be like running around my house, taking care of my plants, cleaning. So like for me, it's doing something actionable that gets me
mm,
out of my body that really helps. And also one of the biggest thing that's helped me in the deep depths of my darkness is to help somebody else.
mm,
So I'm lucky as an acupuncturist, as a healer, I help other people. So even in my darkest moments, I have someone else that I can help that may be going through something worse, that helps me realize, okay, even though I'm in this dark moment, this is somebody else that's in pain, so I have to show up for them. So
yeah.
that really, really helps me because I'm like, okay, I have to get out of my own way. It's not about me, it's about other people. So when I
Mm,
focus on others, it helps lift me out of this darkness. So, I'm lucky in that way. But for those that may not necessarily have a service based occupation, it could even be like smiling at somebody that's having a bad day, or doing something kind for somebody, buying somebody a gift, or just whatever that you can do that help uplift somebody else, really
mm,
uplifts you.
yeah.
So I think
Yes.
for me, that generosity of spirit, even though when you're feeling like the tar of the planet, you feel super dark and heavy, like unlovable, you feel totally disgusting, even
Mm,
in those moments, there is somebody that's feeling either worse or just as bad as you.
Mm.
And when you're able to lift your hand and pull somebody up, even if it's like a centimeter, it
Mm.
makes you feel better. And so that's what I found to be the most beneficial, is to reach out and help somebody else. And
Yeah.
also to get myself out of my own way in a physical sense. So either working out, doing something that's like, that brings me happiness. So dance usually does that for me, and helping others. Those are the two big things that I find to be the most helpful.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I mean, I can totally relate with that. I mean, just some moments ago, I was, walking over here to prepare for this episode, and I was feeling a bit overwhelmed. Basically, I was like, "Oh, this has to get done, and that has to get done, and that has to get done, and this is still on hold," and I felt so stuck. And I just found myself saying, "Oh, God help me, God help me, God help me," over and over. But I
Yes.
didn't know, I didn't know how to express myself in words, and I didn't want to. There was nobody around me to even express myself. So everyone is busy, basically, with their own lives, and I just found myself saying, I can't list all the things that are going through my mind right now. I just said one sentence, "God help me," and I was repeating it over and over and over until I felt some little peace of mind. I was like, "Oh, okay, everything will be fine." Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
good. I mean, it really helps to pray and also to work out, like you said. That's also been a blessing to me to, like, stretching myself and just letting go of those stress and pressure that has built up inside of me. And that's why I find it so fascinating. I'm speaking with you today because you are an acupuncturist, and it has to do with
Yes.
also tense places in the body. I don't know. You're going to enlighten us very
Exactly.
soon on that before I destroy the terms of the acupuncturist. Yeah, but I love, okay, I would love us to just go into that already because I'm so curious to know how that works. I've heard about it. I've watched it in movies before. I've never really spoken to one person that is an acupuncturist before, so I'm super excited right now. If you can see behind my face or something to speak with one. So, how was the journey like? Being becoming an acupuncturist. What's inspired you to become one? How does that work? What is it all about? Thousand questions in one. Just please help us.
Well, I've always wanted to be some sort of healer or being of somebody of service to others. And I am originally from New York City, and I was working at an acupuncture school as an office manager. And at the
Mm.
time, I had a cyst on my ovary that the doctor wanted to do surgery on. And I was very afraid of getting surgery. So I decided to try acupuncture, even though I'm deathly afraid of needles. And I was like, what is this acupuncture stuff? I just work here. But I got acupuncture and it totally changed my life. So within 2 months, the cyst went away. I had my menstrual cycles that were really painful, pretty much were gone. And it felt so miraculous to me that I decided that this was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to learn about. So I became I started school, moved to California, got my license, and started working as an acupuncturist. And I really specialize in women's health because that's something that drew me to the medicine, but
Mm.
also the spiritual aspects of the medicine I find fascinating because acupuncture treats all aspects of the body. It treats spirituality, it treats the emotional health, the mental health, and the physical. So it affects all levels of our body. But then on the physical level, it treats all the systems, the circulatory, the immune system, the respiratory, the hormonal, like everything can be treated with acupuncture. And how it really works, it works by balancing our energy systems in our bodies. We all have meridians that flow through our body that move what we call chi, which is like another way of saying life force. It's what animates us, it's what gets us going. A lot of it has to do with the mixture of air, so oxygen, and just our overall life force. And that moves along different meridians in the body that are connected we by the fascia. So fascia is connective tissue in the body. So fascia runs along all the muscles, tendons, ligaments, nerves, and it's all electricity. It's mostly water, and it's electricity, kind of similar to our heart. Our heart is electromagnetic, which is why they do the EKG, right? They can measure
Yeah.
your heart by the electricity. So our whole
Mm.
body's electric, right? So when you put a needle in the body, needles are metal, conductors of electricity and heat. You
Mm.
put the needles into the body, it goes into the fascia, and the muscle, depending on how deep the needle goes, right? So it hits the fascia, it hits the muscle, and the body then reacts. And how the body reacts is by moving along the fascia planes, which are also the meridians that go in specific ways in the body, which you learn when you go to acupuncture school. There's about over 300 points in the body. And so you put the points in, and the skill of the acupuncturist is to know what meridians to needle and what meridians are blocked, because when energy is blocked, it causes pain and discomfort and an imbalance in the body. So you put these points in, and then it starts to unblock things in the body, which creates more energy flow. And also, what I think is fascinating is that our bodies recognize that something is foreign. So if you put something in your body's like, hey, this metal is not supposed to be here,
Mm.
and it activates the immune system. So that means more blood goes to that location, more oxygen goes to that location. The brain is recognizing that something's happening in the body. So then everything starts to fire off and the body starts to heal, because the body really wants to heal. So acupuncture is a self healing method. So I'm putting the needles in, but I'm really guiding your body to heal. And so acupuncture is really a great way to help your body heal, but heal holistically. What I love about it, which I think is kind of magical, like I could put in specific points guided by what's going on in your body, but your body does the rest. Sometimes people say, "Oh, I felt my hand in my right hand move, but there's no needles in that arm at all. The needles are in the foot or on the other side of the body." But it's
Wow.
because your body recognizes, oh, something needs to be healed on this side of the body. So it goes there. So your body's
Mm.
very, very intelligent, which I think is so amazing. And acupuncture is one of the ways that helps facilitate your body's own healing methods.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's kind of how it works. You can treat acupuncture for almost anything. It works really great with conventional medicine. So if you're getting cancer treatments, acupuncture is great for the side effects of chemo and helps your body stay strong, helps your immune system. I do a lot of pregnancy. I work a lot with women in IVF trying to get pregnant. Acupuncture helps IVF considerably. I also do a lot of depression, anxiety, and then there's also a whole spiritual realm where you can use acupuncture to help strengthen your energy systems, like your chakras and all sorts of energy systems that we can get into if you want. So there's so much stuff you can do with acupuncture. It doesn't work well with trauma. So if your legs are broken or you're bleeding, go to the doctor. But acupuncture could help you heal after your trauma is treated. So it's great for preventative health. So even if you're not sick, you're like, I don't need an acupuncturist. Yeah, you do. There's something in your body that always will need support. Um, so it's a wonderful way to help your body heal and stay strong. I do a lot of facial acupuncture too, so natural ways of treating the face, so keeping your skin moist and supple, less wrinkles, more relaxation. All of these things can be treated with acupuncture. So yeah, it's a really amazing medicine that has lots of different ways of treating the body.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And is it everyone that can? You said okay, people that having trauma, for example, should avoid it. But apart from them, is it applicable for every person, or are there some other people that should stay away from acupuncture?
I mean, anybody can get acupuncture. I mean, there are people that don't like needles, and so
Mm.
there's nothing really that can be done around that. I mean, I don't like needles either, but I'm a gentle needler, so you can find acupuncturists that are not as intense. Like Japanese style acupuncturists tend to be more gentle with the insertion of needles. But otherwise, I mean, there are a select few of people that just don't like acupuncture. And the thing about acupuncture, it's an energy medicine. So I often say, people get acupuncture and they're like, oh, it didn't work for me. You can't go just once. It's something that needs to be a continual care. Like you need to go for a few sessions to see the benefits of acupuncture. That's one thing. And oftentimes, if you meet someone and you didn't get a good session or you didn't get the results you wanted, I would say keep trying and and try another acupuncturist or try a different style of acupuncturist, because sometimes it's the relationship between you and the practitioner that just wasn't there.
Mm.
Because it's an energy medicine, there's a level of safety. Like your body needs to kind of feel safe. Your nervous system needs to relax for the healing to truly happen.
Mm.
And at least that's what I believe, because I think if your nervous system's tight, you're putting in needles, you're not relaxed, and healing really does happen when there's a certain level of relaxation to
Mm.
allow more blood flow and
Mm.
to allow the healing to happen. So I would say
Mm.
keep trying, and if you really want it, I would say find another practitioner. But anybody could try it and at least get experience it. I think it's a beautiful medicine that has so many ways of treating the body.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I was going to ask, like, we're talking about needles here. That means it must be
Mhm.
painful, right? It must be painful when you're
No,
inserting needles. Okay.
not really. I mean, the needles like are if you take out a strand of your hair, they're as thick as that.
Mm.
So I think when most of us think of needles, we think of like getting a vaccine shot or something. So
Yeah.
if you think of a vaccination shot, you can take 20 acupuncture needles and they fit into one needle, a syringe that you would get a
Oh,
vaccine in. So
okay.
it could tell you that the difference in terms of width and depth of those needles are very, very different.
Mm.
Also, acupuncture needles are rounded at the tip. They're not meant to puncture a vessel to get blood. So they're
Mm.
inherently not as painful, right? So for those that have like tattoos, way more painful. Getting a shot is way more painful than acupuncture. They're very,
Mm.
very, very thin. I mean, of course, it's a needle going inside of you. So for me, it's like some of them don't hurt at all. Some of them hurt like a mosquito bite.
Mm.
Some of them hurt a lot. But usually when they hurt a lot, that means you're in a lot of pain. So
Mm.
if you're a person that is in a lot of pain, like you have back pain, shoulder pain, something pain, your muscles are super tight, your nervous system is very activated. So there's more resistance for the needle to go through, which is going
Mm.
to be a little bit more painful, but acupuncture relaxes muscle. So if you're able to withstand that tiny bit of pain, then it can relax the muscle and you can get off the table in less pain than you did when you entered.
Mm.
So, I mean, it kind of just depends. Like, I don't really think it's that painful for speaking from someone that hates needles and refuses to get shots at all costs. It's not as painful as that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I
Odd.
wouldn't be an acupuncturist because I really abhorred needles. People think it's ironic that I'm an acupuncturist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think every acupuncturist, loves needles, live with needles, wants to do everything with needles.
Not really. No. I mean, I literally use the thinnest needles that they
Mm.
sell in the world. I use the thinnest option that they have.
Oh, that's
I
good.
use a lot of I use Japanese needles because they're the least painful.
Mm.
So I do everything I can on my part to make it the least painful experience. But yeah, when I was in acupuncture school, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not about that pain life. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I don't like pain to myself. But
Yeah, no.
earlier you
Oh.
talked about acupuncture and energy level. How do you marry both of
Mhm.
them? Like, how does acupuncture help us to maybe elevate our energy level or work on our energy healing also?
Yeah. So, well, do you know like a little bit about chakras, like the power centers, the energy power centers?
I've heard about this
You've
before.
heard of it?
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
So we have our major chakra centers, the seven that are like our energy sources.
Mm.
Acupuncture can affect the meridians, can affect the chakras. So like if you're having something, for instance, in the root chakra, which is the base of the spine, there are acupuncture procedures and ways of healing that if you wanted to treat that one chakra. And you can also treat all the chakras with acupuncture. Also, there are some acupuncture points that are specifically spiritual. They're called windows to the sky points that help you connect to the divine,
Mm.
especially around the neck. So a lot of acupuncture was based on spirituality. And so many of the acupuncture points are spiritual in nature. We have ghost points. There are all sorts of things. So one of the ways you can also treat the energy if you feel like your energy body is not protected, there's acupuncture points that you can use specifically for that. So I do something called esoteric acupuncture that uses specific geometric sacred geometry on the
Mm.
body with the points. So you put in the points in a very specific way based on the sacred geometry, like triangles and different things like that, to also shift the energy of the body.
Mm.
So that's one way you can treat spirituality and energy work with the use of needles. I also do energy work without needles. So
Mm.
I also combine that with acupuncture. So it really just depends on the practitioner and also how open the client is around that kind of stuff. But it could be really interesting to kind of play with how to shift the energy body with the use of needles, depending on if somebody's really interested in that type of healing. But it's amazing.
Yeah, and it really works. Like, elevating your energy or shifting or making some moves.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I would love to try that someday. That sounds
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
there's Germany has a lot of acupuncturists actually. Yeah, there's a lot of Germany also sells really good needles. It's kind of comparable to the Japanese. So in terms of painlessness, so there are big communities of acupuncturists in Germany that you can
Yeah.
find.
I'll go look them up after this episode. Yeah. While preparing for this conversation, I got to know or learn that you make use of love as a medicine. And I was like intrigued
Hmm.
by that. Like, how does that work? How do you apply love to, putting needles into people's body and
Hmm.
or
Oh,
work? Yeah.
that's a good. Well, that's a great question. For me, it's focusing on love as an energy system, like as a divine energy. So when I have my clients or when I'm in front of you or anybody, I'm focusing on how can I channel divine love into this person.
Mm,
And so when I'm working with clients, that's I have you know love all over the room. I create a very loving environment, and I'm intentional in bringing love to this person
mm,
with the use of needles, but also with my presence, my communication, just my overall being.
mm,
And so that's how I use it in my practice, but also just the idea of thinking about how love can be so healing. I think all of us can think of somebody in our life that, makes you a cup of soup. And it's a regular cup of soup, right? It's nothing special. But what's special about it is that the love that they put in the soup is more healing than the actual soup itself. So it's that idea of like that grandmother or your mom or your father or somebody that nurtures you in that way and how healing that is. And I think all of us in the world, I don't think there's a single person that would say, no, I don't appreciate when somebody loves me. Like everyone
mm.
does. Everyone wants to be loved. Everyone wants to be cared for. I
Yeah.
think this is why there's so much pain in the world, is because most people don't feel like they have that. And because
Mm,
when you feel like you don't have the love and you feel unloved, then you're angry and in darkness, and then you spread pain, right? Because
true.
when hurt people. So if you feel more loved and you have more love in your life, then you spread more love, right? So that's the idea of like bringing more love to others so that they can love themselves more. And when they love themselves more, they'll spread more love to their communities and their families and create a more ripple effect of love and light, as opposed to what's happening in the world, which is heavy and dark. And we all know what's happening in the world.
Yes.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
so that's kind of how I use love as medicine. It's that grandma healing, I
Yeah.
love you. Let's how can I help you energy. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's so amazing. So everyone who's listening to this, if you are close to Carine, go to Carina right now. I'll put the link to our website in the show notes of this episode. Go and feel some
Thank you.
love so that you can have some love in your life and you can spread that love to everyone out there in the world. And the more we spread love, the more people feel love and the more they have love in their life and the more they spread love. And it all turns to a circle, of love spreading. And
Thank you.
maybe in some ways we'll be able to, overshadow the sadness that happens in this world.
Yeah, and I mean I also work with people online, so I also do like energy healing online. I do coaching online. So for those that are interested in working with me, you don't necessarily have to be here in California. I do
Mm.
like online sessions too.
Oh, that's awesome. That makes it easier for people in other parts of the world, basically. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So once again, website is in the show notes of this episode. Click on the link, copy the link, follow on social media, and find out more about how to feel more love in your life. You need love in your life. Yeah. I love apart from love in our life. Now I
Mhm.
also want to talk about beauty also, and you're a specialist in that. Yes.
Mhm.
So how can we uphold our inner beauty, most importantly, and our
Mhm.
outer beauty too, because we want to look beautiful too.
Of course. Well, for me, that comes from the heart, right? When you have more love in your life and you
Mm,
feel more love, you have a more sense of relaxation in your face.
mm,
You smile more. You're more uplifted, and then so you have that inner radiance that is coming from within, and that's really what I think makes people beautiful. It's
mm,
that beauty that's coming from the inside out, and for so many people, that's a hard place to start. It's hard to start from the heart because it's so painful.
mm,
So for many, we start from the outside in. Okay, like you don't like your hair. Like, how can we make your hair something that you enjoy? How can we fall in love with your hair? Right? Like, I didn't love my hair for years. So it took me a long time to fall in love with my hair, to figure out what can I do to enjoy my hair and to love it. The same with my skin. And so there's ways in which that we don't love ourselves. And so how can we adorn that? How could we love that? How can we make that shine so that we can look in the mirror and say, I'm beautiful. I love you,
Mm, mm,
And so that's kind of what I do with a lot of my clients is kind of we if they can't necessarily start from the inside, how can we start from the outside? And how could we enjoy our life? Which is why I started this whole movement called joyful aging, because as we're all getting older, every single day we're getting older and older.
yeah.
And as we get older, our pains get heavier, our bodies get heavier, not necessarily physically, but just emotionally heavier. And,
Mm,
everything starts to, our skin, everything's coming down, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, how could we uplift our lives, our hearts, our face, all of that? And, and part of that is looking inside of our heart. How do we forgive? How do we let go? How do we enjoy life in a totally different way? How do we take
Mm,
care of our skins? How do we take care of our body? How can
mm,
we release toxicity in the people in our lives, our negative toxicity, and also the products that we're using that are
mm,
toxic, So it's a
mm,
multiple levels. And so oftentimes working from the outside in is really helpful. Like even something as simple as let's get rid of all the toxic chemicals that you have in your house and start using clean products.
mm,
That alone is going to shift so much, right?
yeah.
And then how do you wash your face? Like it's something so simple, but let's talk about that. Like, how do you
Mm.
put lotion on? Is it just like I'm just slapping lotion on my face? Or can it be something more like, oh my God, I love my skin. I'm taking care of my skin right now. I'm nourishing myself. Like those
Mm,
little rituals that we do daily could also be moments where we are stopping and saying and appreciating our face, our body, and
mm,
saying, hey, I
mm,
love you. I'm taking care of you today. And
yeah.
those are moments that we can really start to grow and appreciate this physical body that our spirit is housed in. This is
Mm,
a temporary body for our spirit to live in. And
yeah.
so taking care of this temporary house allows our spirit to shine. If our
Mm,
temporary house is falling apart, then the spirit is going to also be unrest. So it's like, how do we take care of our body so our spirit can shine?
mm,
And because ultimately our body is our body, but our spirit is eternal. And
mm,
how can we nourish both so both can really thrive in this lifetime that we have right now?
yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. It all starts from the heart, basically. Learning how to forgive,
Yeah,
learning how to let go, learning how to love, learning how to accept yourself. And all of it boils down to also us loving ourselves too, having that self-love for
right.
ourselves. And that way it radiates up to the physical. And I love what you said also about, we are spirit beings, but we have this body, that carries our spirit for the time being. And we have to take care of this body also to ensure that our spirit feels comfortable in the way I understand it. It feels, at peace, and when we let our body shine, our spirit also shines in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Exactly.
If there's a word you could share with someone out there who would love to age gracefully, I be number one. What advice would you? What other advice would you give? I've learned a lot of things already that I've already taken mental note of. But if there's
Uh-huh.
something else that you could share with me, or maybe only me, to age gracefully, to become 100 years old and still look even better than this, actually, what would you share with me?
With you specifically, to relax.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With you specifically, I would say you work hard, you're very focused, and you're very tight. Like you're like, go, 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 go. I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make this happen. And that energy is wonderful because it's going to push you forward. But at the same time, it creates a lot of tension, anxiety, and stress in your body.
Mm,
So by relaxing and allowing things to happen a little bit more, you'll find more peace in your nervous system, which will then help you age better because stress is an aging factor and tension and tightness creates more stress on the body. So finding ways to bring more relaxation, doing more deep breath work, breathing, taking moments to just breathe and be like, okay, I'm in this moment. What am I doing? Like being focused on in this moment, I'm doing this right now. I don't have to think about tomorrow. I don't have to think about yesterday. I'm
Mm.
present right now in my body, and just going from that more of a peaceful place, more intentional, and instead of running to the point A to point B to point C. And that creates stress, and also you miss out on the blessings because you're running too fast.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I'll learn to
Yeah.
relax and live in the moment. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
it's hard. It's not, I think it's, I think a lot of people say that. I mean, people have said that to me, right? They're like, "Oh yeah, you need to relax." I'm like, "Uh-huh, uh-huh." Um, and it's not necessarily easy, and I think it takes a lot of practice to be, like for me, one of the things it was like relaxing my pelvis. Like I'm always so tight. I had to be like, "Okay, relax." Like I literally had to tell myself to relax,
Mm.
relax, relax your forehead, relax your face, relax your jaw. Like so, you kind of have to. It has to be in your mind to say, "Okay, I'm relaxing," and it sounds kind of silly to actually tell yourself to relax.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
have to
it does.
command your body to relax, but over
Mm.
time it becomes more natural.
Mm.
So it's one of those things where you you have to kind of practice it, and sometimes you feel like nothing's happening, but over time, I promise you, things start to shift. It took me 5 years to relax from moving from New York City to California.
Wow, 5 years.
Hmm.
Oh,
Hmm.
that seems like a long time. Oh, wow.
It's a very long time. Well,
Yeah.
because I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to New York City or like a city like New York. It's like high intensity all the time. Like you're just like running. It's just like barrage of intensity all the time. And it was so normal for me. I didn't really think about it. And so I was just always like high level stress, just always going fight or flight. And it wasn't until I moved to California that people are much slower here. Things slow down. And I'm like, why is everyone so slow? Like, what's going on here? Like, come on, let's go, people. Let's go.
Hurry
Like,
up.
I'm like, why y'all walking so slow? Like, come on, we gotta go. I got places to be. And it took me a long time to realize, oh my God, like, I don't have to be this hyped up all the time. I could be slow. I could relax. I could, and it took me a long time. And so it doesn't need to take 5 years. I think and I was in grad school. So I was also kind of like in this like, kind of vibe.
Mm. Mm.
But when I finished grad school, I was kind of like, I don't need to be this way no more. Like, why am I stressing out right now? So it
Yeah.
took me a long time to be like, wait a second, I don't have to function on this level. I could
Yes.
enjoy. So it took a while for me to be like, oh, okay, I can stop and smell the roses.
Mm. You could take things easy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was
Yeah.
a practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, long winded, but yeah.
I'm taking that with me. Thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate this. I've learned so much from speaking with you in this conversation, and I hope everyone out there who is listening also has learned a lot. And maybe they still have more questions to ask you. I know your website, your Instagram will be in the show notes of this episode. Facebook also will be there. I don't know if there's any other way you want people to reach out to you, maybe get across to you or speak with you.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram is cool. You can find me on Carina.co or Carine J. Camara. Either one, you can find me on Instagram, my
Mm.
website. Yeah.
Yeah.
Email me at info@Carina. Yeah, I'm findable.
Findable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. My full name is pretty unique, so you can find me online.
Yes, just Google our name and you'll find out directly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. It was also wonderful speaking with you. I truly appreciate this. Thank you,
You,
Karen.
you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Hey there, podcast enthusiasts. Are you ready to add a little sparkle to your day? If you're loving the insightful conversations and captivating stories on Mirror Talk Podcast, here's a friendly nudge to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll never miss out on the empowering messages and thought provoking discussions we bring to your ears. But wait, there's more. We're all about spreading positivity and inspiration, and you can be a part of it too. How? By sharing the love with your friends and family. Share this episode with your loved ones, and let's create a ripple effect of empowerment and growth together. And hey, if you've been enjoying what you hear, why not take a moment to leave us a glowing 5-star review? Your feedback fuels our passion to keep delivering content that resonates with you. So hit that subscribe button, share the love, and leave us a review. Let's keep the conversation going and spread the Mirror Talk magic far and wide. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, your support means the world to us.